I'm Tina Coleman, the Extension Dairy and Livestock Agent for Fond du Lac County, and today we'd like to share with you a little bit about farm safety, specifically farm safety in women. Over 30% of farm operators in the United States, according to the 2017 USDA Census of Agriculture, indicates that they are women. And there's another countless number of females on farm operations today doing many of the daily tasks, from caretaking of animals, use of equipment, and also mixing and doing agronomic work out in the fields. To talk a little bit about the unique opportunities and challenges that farm women have when it comes to farm safety is Dr. Lindley Riley, a veterinarian with the Cedar Grove Veterinary Services here in eastern Wisconsin. Dr. Riley, can you share with us just some of the unique challenges that our farm women face every day as part of their jobs on the farm?
I would love to, Tina. I'm so happy to be speaking about this subject because there's so many great farm women out there and I really want them to stay safe. The first one I want to touch on is farm equipment, because when you talk about farm equipment, you often talk about the accidents that occur with male counterparts. Often it's in the tractor cab in rollover accidents or other accidents as such. But for us as females, we're often on the ground, either hitching up the trailer, or we are hooking up the PTO shaft, or we're just walking around the farm, and that's where we encounter equipment injuries. So our ideas when it comes to equipment is not necessarily being able to handle them, but being visible, being aware, having good communication skills with those in and around us. That's how you can definitely stay safe when it comes to working around a lot of that large equipment.
Many times it's a buddy system, but somebody else is in the cab of the tractor or in the skid steer, and it's usually a wife, another individual, a daughter, that's helping to add that implement or piece of equipment to the hitch.
Correct. And us as women tend to be shorter, so we're not as visible. We tend to have longer hair, which can be problematic with a lot of moving parts, PTO shafts, or chains. And we tend not to be part of the process they think about when they're talking about these guys in the trucks, these guys in the tractors. So you definitely have to be an advocate. Make sure you communicate, like you said.
Right, and then using proper clothing and attire as well, steel-toed shoes, no loose baggy clothing, and wearing a hat or pulling your hair back in some of those cases.
Correct. Moving on from the farm equipment is the animals that are currently behind me. These are actually my beef cattle. You definitely, as a woman, can work around very large animals very successfully. But you do have to think about it because, again, being shorter, maybe not having the upper body strength that others do, is that you have to think of some challenges. Having good restraint methods, chute systems, headlocks, gating systems. Again, you mentioned a buddy system that comes into play when you work around large animals to make sure someone's looking out for your back. And just being smart and safe about knowing the cattle you're working with and their temperament.
Right, and then working in the feed alley, need to know their escape routes as well, in case we do have some animals that are woolly or scared and could cause injury.
Yes, correct. We always advise anyone who works, especially around maternity pens, bulls, or beef cattle, to make sure you have an exit strategy, no matter whether they're your own cattle or some you've never met before, because they can easily trap you and do some damage.
And this can even occur with other species as well. Sows farrowing, ewes lambing.
Correct. So while we're talking about pregnant animals or animals giving birth, the way we get there is using a lot of different drugs and hormones. And while nobody should get stuck with a needle, that's why we have good restraint methods and we use BQA standards. Particularly for women, some of those reproductive hormones can be problematic. If you think about products that contain prostaglandin F2 alpha, which more commonly known to us as Lutalyse, they can cause abortions in cattle if given to the wrong cattle. Additionally, they can cause abortions in women if it ends up getting absorbed on the skin or injected. So again, those restraint methods, those visibility, making sure you're making good injection shots are all very important. And if you feel high risk or unsafe in that scenario, give that job to someone else, especially when you're pregnant. There's no shame in that.
It's about taking care of yourself and being able to do the tasks at hand and working in a safe environment. There's other challenges with pregnant women with other species as well when it comes to working with the pregnant animals.
When it comes to pregnant animals, because again, they can carry diseases, zoonotic diseases, which are diseases that can be passed from animals to people, a lot of them do have ones that can cause abortions and may go unnoticed in the animal themselves, but can be problematic for us. The two that come to mind most often when I talk to women who are in agriculture or veterinary medicine are sheep and goats. Pregnant women or women who may be pregnant, we tend to tell them to avoid kiddings and lambings just across the board. However, if that's an unavoidable situation, we definitely recommend wearing gloves, masked because some of the things can become aerosolized. You can breathe in some of the disease particles, and just really make sure you're handling any of the placenta or fetus parts safely as possible. So those would be the two in particular I always warn people about. However, cattle can also come with their own set of problems as well. So you do have to be careful, especially if they're in the act of abortion.
And obviously want to share with your OBYGN or practitioner whether when you're pregnant that you do work on a farm, correct?
I always recommend everyone to be their own advocate, especially when it comes to your MDs and your risk on a farm. Pregnant, not male or female, but definitely when you are pregnant, because you might just say, hey, I work on a farm. They might not entertain the thought that you are exposed to zoonotic diseases, that you give hormone shots, that you work around cattle that can kick you. So you definitely have to list those out. And if you are worried about what those risks are, talk to a veterinarian. Generally, a lot of us are pretty on the ball with that, since there are a lot of female veterinarians working in practice right now. Or talk to somebody else in agriculture that has gone through a pregnancy. But you definitely need to list them out, because the MDs may not make those jumps or conclusions like you think they would.
And another unique challenge that farm women face is associated with mental health when it comes to carrying the burden of all the extra responsibilities outside of the farm and with the home.
Definitely encourage them to find and seek help, ask for help whenever possible. Us as veterinarians have taken it upon ourselves to really make sure our farm families are being well taken care of. My advice is always just ask for help. There's no shame in it. We know it's stressful out there.
When we're looking at symptoms of anxiety or depression or worry for more than 2 weeks, it is something they need to seek out their doctor for as well.
There's only so much that us as lay people can do to help with mental health. Obviously, we can be an outlet, but if it's something that needs a doctor, sometimes you just need a professional to come in and really help you out.
Right. And remember that mental health is not a disease. Mental health is just a condition. It's about the mental well-being of us.
Correct. It's something that no one should be ashamed of having. It's something you definitely need to ask for help.
All right. And farm safety should be part of the fabric of everyday life on the farm. And Dr. Lindley Riley here from Cedar Grove Veterinary Services again reminds us, especially women facing the unique challenges that they need to be more aware of on the farm. But for more resources related to farm safety and women specifically, just Google us on the web at UWEX Farm Safety. And there'll be many resources as well as links to help you provide a safe environment for yourself and others on the farm.